Junior.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Duke Disability Alliance's first general body meeting. Thank you so much for everyone who came. I thought it'd be a good idea to just keep it informal. So let's start with introductions. I'm Deepti. I'm a junior from Montgomery County, Maryland. I write for the Chronicle and I'm president of Duke Disability Alliance. So do you just want to go around the room and do intros? Kathy?
Okay, I'm Kathy. I'm a junior. My hometown is Fort Collins, Colorado. Fun fact, I don't know, we're just talking about bands. So I guess I did archery for 4 years in high school, and I'm interested in DDA. Well, I'm the event coordination chair for DDA, but also I'm interested because I'm very passionate about special education law and disability justice in general. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Alexa. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Wake Forest / Raleigh, North Carolina. Fun fact. Did that be fun? Okay. Fun fact. I have a really little dog named Jumbo. And I became interested in DDA because I took my writing 101 with Marion, and we talked about neurodiversity. And I thought that was really interesting.
Hi, I'm Kaylee, as you can see here. I am a freshman from Cary, which is 20 minutes away. Fun fact, I worked at the German Museum of Life and Science in the Butterfly House all summer, so we know really random facts about moths. I became interested in Duke Disability Alliance because I heard from a number of people that one of the issues at Duke is performative allyship. And how there's a lot of superficial initiatives to be inclusive to marginalized groups, but they don't actually address systemic issues. And I want this to be a place everyone can be proud of and can be welcome at.
I'm Simon. I'm a sophomore, and I'm the secretary of Duke Disability Alliance. I'm originally from Oklahoma City, and fun fact, I guess I play the ukulele, and I really enjoy it.
That's really fun.
I'm Maddie. I'm a sophomore, and I'm in Duke's Special Window. And fun fact, I was bitten by a copperhead when I was little, and I got treated at Duke Hospital. And reason why I'm doing DDA, a lot of reasons, but one reason is I'm doing further to the about this.
Hi, I'm Manima. I'm an international student, and I'm in DDA. Fun fact.
Yeah.
I'm from India. A fun fact is that I have 4 dogs in India. And I'm interested in DDA because I did my class with Dr. Q, my grandmother, and I've been involved in and out since then. So I like it.
Hello, I'm Matt. I'm from Turkey. I'm a sophomore. One fact I have is slightly unpopular obsession with cats. Anyone knows anywhere? Love you forever. When I'm interested in DDA, I also took Dr. Q's writing on one class, and she's really interested in activism. And as Haley said, the initiatives of the administration, so at least they really do feel superficial. They feel like they don't really address the issue that's not happening. So I think it's amazing that this exists to actually do something about it.
I'm Allie. I'm a freshman from Long Island, New York. Fun fact, I have 2 dogs that are both from out of the country. One's from one's from the Netherlands and one's from Canada. And I'm interested in DDA because I've always been passionate about just disability activism. So when I saw this group, it was just perfect.
That's awesome.
I'm Marion. My hometown is Salem, Connecticut, but my chosen hometown is Durham, North Carolina. What else? Oh, fun facts are tough. I suppose fun fact from my childhood, my grandfather had a farm and he had built 2 ponds on it, and there was kind of a hill between them. And I remember one time I fell off the back of the truck while we were driving from one pond to the other. It was fine. I was on like a floaty. I was on like a tube, you know, and I just landed really hard on the ground, and I lost all my breath, but I was okay. Is that a fun story? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm faculty advisor of DDA. I'm involved in disability justice. I teach disability studies. The reason I'm involved in disability justice is that I grew up with a sibling with Fragile X syndrome / autism. And so I research and write about autism. I also research about just the concept of disability as a construct that gets used to disqualify people from citizenship. So in the broadest sense possible.
My name's Andrew. I'm a second-year law student here. Originally from Chicago, but most recently from Denver. And I actually had one. Now all I can think about is being bitten by a copperhead. Sorry. Which awesome story, by the way. Fun fact about me is that I say really awkward stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for sharing. So just to get a glimpse about like what DDA is and what we stand for, I think some of you guys came to the activities fair and are just like, come sign up, we have friends. So DDA's mission is to make Duke more inclusive. Oh wait, is Jay here? Oh, not. Yeah, I did. Maybe he like checked in and then left. But Jay Pandey was our president last year. He's also a junior from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Hopefully he will join us soon. But yeah, so anyway, DDA's mission is to make Duke more inclusive and accessible by fostering conversations about disability issues, expanding accessibility on campus and in the community, encouraging positive perceptions and full appreciations of people with disabilities, and promoting their legal rights. We strive to engage the entire Duke community to make Duke a better place for those with and without disabilities. So that was a lot, but in the last year, we've really tried to hit on that mission in the many different facets of it. And one of the key things that's like for people with and without disabilities, like this is an alliance. We want to engage all members of the community and also other disability-focused clubs, such as like American Sign Language Club or like the Autism Club, which Adair McCauley, Addie, yeah, she heads.
Yeah, she's not the Autism Club. Hers is Learning Different.
Oh, sorry, Learning Different, yeah. So just to tell you guys about what DDA has done in the past, last year a freshman came to us and said, hey, I've been learning American Sign Language for the past 7 years, but I get to Duke and it's not a club, much less a class. Like, what can I do? So we kind of pointed him into the right direction, got him in touch with people at DSG, and now I think it's like a full-form club and in the process of becoming a house course. And that's really awesome. And we work with DSG a lot. Our liaison is abroad this semester, but we worked with him and the rest of DSG.
There's actually a new position in DSG, the disability chair.
Really?
Disability access and inclusion chair. Yeah, she emailed, can't remember if she emailed me or she emailed all of the exec over the summer. But anyway, that's another person that we've worked with a lot this year, so we can just invite her to our next meeting.
Yeah, of course. Awesome.
Yeah, they're really
You could be a
person.
Yeah, so another thing that we did with the help of DSG is like we work with DSG to get the language. Do you guys all know what the languages building is? It's close to like the Duke Hospital, super inaccessible. You can't get there without like taking the stairs or something. A lot of clubs used to hold their meetings there, but now the languages building is banned. No student organization can hold a meeting there because it's super inaccessible. So those are just a couple of examples of what DDA has done. We had an event during O Week. I don't remember if you guys were there, but we were just talking about disability on campus and accessibility. Jay was there too, if you met him. And then the biggest thing we did last year, at least I would say, was the arts event. Simon, Maddie, do you guys want to talk more about that? Yeah.
And we also had who is a local artist.
And then Kara Sandal, who was super cool. She is a super big disability studies fascinating scholar, and she was making a film about how to say about like it's like representation in media in general, like movies and such.
It's like a lot of our stereotypes about disability come from Hollywood and decades of just really bad representations.
She was talking about real representation, like what we should look at. She told us at 30 minutes of this documentary. Code of Freaks. Yeah. That was really cool. And that event.
There were also sensory tours of the galleries. So a lot of the people we were working with, like Arts Access Raleigh, that's like a nonprofit that tries to make the arts accessible to people with disabilities. So they were one partner, and then also just the NAFTA themselves have been trying to like find ways to welcome people with disabilities into that space, particularly if you have like visual impairment or something else that might prevent you from like fully enjoying the artworks. So they had these sensory tours where there's a lot of like sense and touching, and I barely got to participate because I was like behind the scenes that whole time, but it was really cool from what I saw. So yeah, it was a really popular event with the community and really good like high profile thing. And I recently heard that the National was having a meeting about like what things went well last year, what can we do more of, and they talk a lot about our event. So yeah. And people from Raleigh who were there, from like the Raleigh art scene, invited Carrie to come back, Carrie Sandal to come back and show more of her film, which she did last week as part of a long-going arts, disability arts exhibition called The Everyday that a nonprofit called DDA is putting on. So a lot of what we do is actually integrating with nonprofits in North Carolina and partnering on things.
Yeah, Code of the Freaks was a really great documentary because they just kept reiterating a message that in Hollywood and media especially, a lot of movies send the message that it's better to die than to live with a disability. And personally, that is something I never picked up on myself. But when she saw or like presented the documentary, I was like, wait, that's really true. Like that's something I really thought about. It was very thought provoking. And yeah, like we sent out an email to Antoine Hunter back in December, and he flew in just for us in April. So it meant a lot just to see like what a little bit of planning and outreach how much like it can really go a long way, which is why I want to really work with other campus organizations and focus more on outreach. And we actually have another event coming up. Marian, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I actually would have been working on the flyer today, so let me just get that on my laptop.
It was on Thursday, October 3rd.
Yes. So, okay. Here's our flyer. I don't know. People want to help me later edit, but it's the event is called Disability Activism and Allyship, and it's going to be a guest lecture with Kathy McMahon-Klosterman, who is professor of disability studies at Miami University, Ohio. And she's just been someone who's been really supportive to me as I've been trying to build disability studies as like an academic focus here at Duke, because she did that at Miami University, Ohio. She just from the ground started a disability studies minor, and it's now the most popular minor at their university. They're filling like 6 sections of the intro class every semester with like 30 students each. So there's just tons of students studying disability studies there. So she was really successful building that program. But this event, she's going to be talking about student activism, right? So something at Miami, which is similar to Duke, is that they have these like iconic historical buildings that people with disabilities can't access, like can't get into. And so the student disability group, a group like ours, was getting pissed off with just the circumstances. And she helped them coordinate some actions that really called attention to it. So the administrators were being forced to see like the problem. Like, one thing that they did was like, they took caution tape and put it on the doors of the building. They didn't actually bar the exits, but like they folded it in. It looked like it was blocked, but it wasn't. But they just said, and they would like physically stand and be a barrier to the building and say like, go ahead and find the accessible entrance. And then the administrators would be really annoyed, like, oh, we don't know where that is, or like it's at the back, or it's like really inconvenient, and it takes a couple extra minutes out of their day. But it's just so that they have to confront that inconvenience of having a separate entrance, which is, it's a form of segregation to force people with disabilities to like use side entrances, back entrances, freight elevators, service elevators, all that kind of thing. So yeah, that was one action where they actually forced the university to reconstruct accessible entrances into the building that were more centralized. So she's going to talk about that. She's going to talk about the history of the disability rights movement and relate it to other civil rights struggles, like the women's rights movement and civil rights movement in the 60s. And so she'll talk about that shared history and then strategies that students like you can use. And the way that I phrased it on the flyer is help Duke Disability Alliance kick off a year of action and community engagement with guest speaker kind of giving and fostering. So I'm thinking, since this is our big first event of the year, it can be a way to start conversations going about how to physically actually instigate change on this campus. I think People State of the University kicked it off pretty well last year. They incorporated a long statement about disability justice in their document. So those of you who are freshmen, did you ever hear about the People State? No. I've heard that. Yeah, so they basically, they were the ones who organized the rally yesterday, the white supremacy rally. So they're doing great things, and they are thinking about disability. Like they're basically trying to start conversations with administration so that students have more of a say in what this university is and what it stands for. And I feel like some of our members from last year were active in that movement, people who are abroad now. But it's great to see them incorporating disability in their messaging, and they have a number of ideas for ways that this university can do a better job being inclusive for students with disabilities. And a lot of those ideas that they put into their document came from this club. So we should be proud of ourselves for that, I think. And I think this year could be about making some of that stuff actually happen. So yeah, that's October 3rd. 6 o'clock to 7:30.
Yes, share with your friends. Yeah, and then kind of like what I've hinted at, hammed on before, is that we really want to focus on our outreach with other clubs. Last year, people from the rec center reached out to us saying like we should do an event where we talk about how people can, with or without disabilities, can access like the facilities that they have on campus. For many logistical reasons, the event didn't fall through. So that's just something we don't want to keep happening. Like a lot of organizations reached out to us, but since we were so focused on event planning, we weren't able to focus that much. But yeah, so those are some of the things that we have in mind. Of course, we want to hear your guys' ideas. What are your thoughts? Like, it's just open up for discussion. And also, shameless plug, like exec positions are open. So if y'all really want to get involved and invested and do stuff, these are just some of like the roles that are officially listed in our constitution, like publicity chairs. Like DDA has done a lot in the last year, but I don't know how many people actually have heard about it or know about it, because presenting like everything you've done is also an art. and just having chairs for advocacy and accessibility that like really reach out to like admin and other like people in the Durham area to talk about disability issues. Like those are some of our roles. But yeah, what do you guys think?
There's so many ways we could focus our energies this year.
Yeah.
We've decided to take a step back from overly focusing on event planning.
Mm-hmm.
This because that disability arts event, while so successful and so fun, it was a lot of work. It kind of took everything we had,
Including our money.
to make that happen. So we decided to not do anything on that scale this year. That gives us more space to coordinate with other groups on the kind of event ideas that they might have, but it also gives us more time to think about ourselves as an activist group and to think about some of those specific goals that we might have to make the change on campus. And, you know, when you're an activist, you're more free to do things without having to like apply for funding and stuff. It's just like, let's show up, let's do this. You know, you don't have to be like, okay, we need to file a P-card request 4 weeks in advance of the event. We have to go to the SOC, all the bureaucratic stuff. I think you have less of that when you're focusing on specific goals.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I guess the thing about like advocacy at Duke itself is like people kind of, students especially, kind of shy away from it. I mean, that's like the impression I've gotten in the past 2 years, but because it is a bold move to like take a strong stance on something, especially against like Duke admin that like, or Duke itself, which is really good at like presenting itself to students. So, but yeah, anyway, what do you guys think? What were your thoughts or expectations coming in to this? Not to like put the spotlight on you guys, but it's fine. Are there, Simon?
I expect to get really into active activism.
Mhm.
It's a little redundant, but like I want to like we already said it like so many times, but I feel like focusing on activism is such like a unique opportunity to do with like your peers. So, and I feel like this is the right place to facilitate that. So, something I'm excited about.
Mm-hmm.
As an activist, Simon, what would you like to see change?
Oh gosh.
What would be like the number one? I want this to change it.
Well, okay, like overall, I want to see attitudes change with you, but that's like something that's like super like
Hard to measure.
core, hard to measure like things. But like I guess like a physical thing that's super easy. It's just like I don't know, laminating religious building.
They get, well, do you want something to Andrew? Like, do you know why Duke doesn't renovate buildings?
Okay, so
For accessibility.
Yeah.
So I haven't studied that, but I do know that basically if you have an out of code building, unless it has like a serious like immediate health or safety type of life, it's going to burn down. Typically you're allowed to leave it out of code until you start renovating it. And then once you renovate it, there are certain minimum standards based on something having to do with how the building already is. Possibly like what percentage of the cost and cost of retrofit and such.
I'm not talking about full-scale renovation, but if we could please have one of the floors be accessible entrance in a logical place.
When languages in particular, they get out of it through some kind of historical buildings cost.
Oh, yeah.
So they're pretty much in compliance with ADA. But ADA is not good enough, that's the point, right?
Yeah, well, and then also like, letter of the law versus spirit of the law, like you're technically in compliance, but you've done as little as you can while still like keeping aware to it.
There's no say we can bring in people to plan it and actually volunteer to construct it. Just the entrance, just that much at least. I was wondering, I was getting sent where there's actually a legal.
Is anyone here interested in engineering or architecture?
But sorry, what was your question?
What you were saying,
If we can bring someone to design an accessible entrance, which is very possible. That can be done.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's enough art.
Why is the design for disability course like use that as a construction project?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Design.
Yeah.
Like
Kevin Caves' class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked him. I will say, I work closely with at least one professor who
teaches from the languages building, whose office is in that building. She, when I brought this up with her, kind of said, no way, they're never gonna do it. Because of like where, so they spent a lot of money a few years back building the Kirk, that cafe, which is a huge glass wall, and it's right behind the languages building. So they'd have to destroy that in order to make languages accessible. That's what she said. And at the front side, I don't know what the argument is exactly, but
Destroy a whole entire.
I know, that seems really. But why does it matter? Because there is a visible, accessible entrance in the front.
Yeah.
I think that goes back to the attitude thing that like, it's like aesthetics over accessibility.
Yeah.
So the fact that Duke doesn't prioritize making a space accessible for all of their students is a problem in and of itself.
yeah.
But
And the thing about.
And what about dorms? That's a whole other can of worms. So
Dorms, like, what was, there was a dorm, just drives.
I think there's a room that has like an accessible bathroom on the second floor.
And there's no
elevator
yeah.
to get to it.
Yeah, there's so many ones have, like accessible shower for
Okay, so everybody's talking. I'm just gonna like jot things down as everybody talks.
Yeah.
Cause like the teacher in me is like,
In terms of like goals for our club, I think this year would be good to focus on these initiatives and maybe like you guys said, like less events and like trying to raise awareness, but more like actually collaborating with people to make the changes happen.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good focus.
And what about the ASL club? Like, is that going to be a thing now? I keep forgetting at what stage they are with making that.
so I can give the background on the ASL club, because I was recently in contact with Jordan Diamond, who is the student from your class who was trying to get ASL taught here. So Jordan worked with some other students. He worked with DSG last spring, and they put together a proposal for instituting ASL courses, that's American Sign Language, here at Duke, and having it count as a foreign language requirement. Because the argument against that was that it's not foreign, it's American, so it's not a foreign language. Legit, that was the argument. So he made a proposal to DSG, and they said no to it because it wasn't specific enough, so they're going back and starting over and working on it. But there is now an ASL club, and students are kind of teaching each other ASL on kind of a club basis, and it's not for credit. So it's like, that's a first step, but there's other steps that can be taken, starting maybe with a house course and then eventually convincing administration to hire ASL instructors, because like they don't have them, they don't have classes. So yeah, that's something where there are steps that can be taken. There's already a club working on it. We can do a better job like inviting them to our meetings and making sure that they participate with us as part of our alliance so that we can help them.
Because that would be my goal for this year, is at least like I mean, my ultimate goal is to try and get ASL classes as a student at Duke.
Yeah.
As a foreign language, but I think collaborating with that.
Yeah.
I still have two suggestions. One, are we maybe partnering with Mosaic University, like are you guys ready to help them with their initiative for the semester?
Yes.
Because I remember we helped them, we helped a little bit to edit their proposal over the summer, and then I was talking to the girl, Madeline.
Yeah.
And like saying, we would be willing to help with other types of things, maybe like things for students, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And secondly, is like, we should do something like the survey results from last year.
Oh my gosh, the surveys, yes.
Yeah, also I read through almost all of them, and there are a lot of things like student support, statements of support for the community, centered people with disabilities, so maybe we'll do that, and then some sort of big project.
Let's recirculate the survey, get more responses. I mean, I know we already have a lot, we already have like 150 or something, but yes, let's recirculate the survey.
What was the survey?
Yeah, you should.
There's like an access,
Everyone usually can
Send out a link.
was it the accessibility and something survey?
This is the survey we took at the end of the year. You took it in my class, if you were in my class last year.
Can we come up with more professors to like just ask those students to do it?
Yeah.
Doesn't take too long.
Yes.
Like we talked to sociology, psychology,
Yeah,
Well,
that's really
ethics, just classes that my son helped with the topic.
We can get like a Psych 101 class.
Yeah,
a huge class, yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I now have a position in Franklin Humanities Institute that is new, that could be, and it's up to the club how much you want to coordinate with Franklin Humanities Institute, but they might have resources that we can use in terms of contacting a lot of professors quickly, like listservs that they have, and kind of an institutional authority that I by myself don't have, right? Just like me, some random writing instructor, just emailing your sociology professor, they might not pay attention, but if it's coming from the Franklin Humanities Institute, they might be like, oh, cool, there's an institutional initiative going on. So I can see if they'd be willing to partner with us on survey circulation, if that's something you guys think is a good idea.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. So we can think about that. I also had that other survey that I made last year, kind of separate from DDA, about disability coursework, right? Just remember, I mean, you guys take in class. Just a survey for students about like, what classes on disability have you taken? What did you think was valuable about those classes? What kind of classes would you like to see in what departments? Because it's an issue that transects every academic area of interest, and it's something that we'd like to build, that we have a community of professors interested in disability, some of whom are even interested in disability studies, right? And by that I mean like a kind of in the social sense rather than just strictly a medical sense. But it's not anything formal yet, so we need to build those community connections up. And so that survey was intended to show student support for something like a disability studies certificate, which would be cool to have. Okay, so recirculate the survey on access. Use FHI. They agree to it, which they might not, right? Because they might see this as potentially political, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might be like, oh, you know, I don't know how they'll respond, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, so use FHI and then coursework survey. I feel like they'd be more likely to help me circulate a coursework survey. Maybe they do both though. Okay.
Do you think it's something that always would have been political, or just because of the state of the university at graduation?
No, it's always political. Duke has been sued so many times.
Yeah. I knew that.
But it should be like, this is your way to not get sued anymore,
Yeah.
right? And I think that sometimes maybe they'd rather get sued because it's cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's easier to address things one at a time when you already have your lawyers working out, you know, when you already have your
We've
lawyers
already
sorry.
put the billable hours
Yeah.
going
Well,
towards,
it's like Duke has in-house counsel, like they paid that person the same amount of money regardless of what they're doing, so
Yeah.
you might as well get sued.
It's
Like, it's not like going to law firm and paying someone.
let's see if we can.
This is
Not that
unrelated to that.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, has this club ever looked into like how STEM courses at Duke are not accessible at all to people with disabilities? Because I was in my bio lab, like.
It's not accessible to students, period, anyway.
I was just like thinking in my ortho lab the other day that like, I can't even imagine how someone like in a wheelchair would be able to participate in the ortho lab, considering that the fume hoods are like, they start like up here. So like if you're sitting down, you physically won't even be able to reach the fume
So this is
hoods.
another physical accessibility thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's like technically inaccessible, but I was just like thinking like, wow, this is probably very difficult for people with disabilities to participate
Well, it
in.
definitely is, because the standard width for, doorways for wheelchair users, is definitely why.
And also,
those
like, the-
people have areas.
Like all of our labs are very narrow too, like there's not a lot of walking space in between.
I get people who wants to go in those labs, because, and partially because it's ortho, but.
No, but like even in my bio lab, like the physical things that we have to do, there's a student with no arms in my bio lab, and like our TA didn't even like try to make it accessible for him, like because we were pipetting and stuff, which is like very precise handwork. And she's like, just make your just let your partner do it for you. I was like, he's taking this course to participate, like
I don't know.
Okay, so this comes down to faculty training because
Yeah.
That's a TA. Another one of the issues that people like Addie, who's our good ally, she is the person who convened the group Learning Different, which is for students with learning disabilities and trying to make the accommodations process more straightforward. She was talking about just faculty insensitivity in our event of the O Week thing last 2 weeks ago. She talked a lot about how faculty, they can sometimes be doubtful that you have a disability, or it's like, do I actually have to accommodate that disability? Does that thing count? So they can be nosy about asking you what your diagnosis is when they're not supposed to. So that speaks back to a lack of sensitivity training. But then there's also a lack of awareness about what the actual accommodations procedures are. Like, I'm a faculty member and I didn't know anything about our disability management system until Andrew told me about things like census access, which is like there's actually a thing, I can convert my documents so that they're readable for screen readers. I didn't know about that, like nobody told me about that. Like, there's no orientation in which faculty are being taught how to accommodate their students with disabilities. So what ends up happening is that SDAO gives them warning, like maybe a week before the semester starts, maybe 2 weeks into the semester. By the way, you have a student with the following needs and you have to redo all of your stuff like in a format that's accessible to them, and then the professor's just like really overwhelmed and angry, and it's just a terrible system. So I think there needs to be upfront training, and also it improves our pedagogy anyway, to think about different modes of learning, right? To think about like, okay, I'm always gonna have notes on the board and verbal and like visual points of input so that students can access the information in multiple ways at all times. That's just better teaching, it's better record keeping too and stuff like that. So there's a way in which we can frame this as this will improve the pedagogy of all your instructors at Duke. Not like this is something else you have to do. It's like you're gonna be a teacher, you might as well be good at it. And you might as well be thinking about learning and what that looks like for different kinds of students, So that's to improve the learning atmosphere for everybody here.
I think one of the biggest things is that like all of these changes that we're asking or we're trying to push for are honestly fairly doable at Duke. Like, this is one of like a premier institution that should be it should be accessible for like everyone. So, for the people who have said or might say like how many people with disabilities are on Duke's campus, it seems to be like a small minority. Well, there are a lot more people affected than people realize, because not all disabilities are visible. All disabilities are visible, because like learning disabilities, you can't look someone in the face and say like, oh, this person has dyslexia. So
So, I was speaking to one of the admissions officers at Duke, who I just had like an independent relationship with, and we were chatting, and she's doing a number of minority initiatives, and we were kind of talking about, she was looking for someone basically that she could refer prospective students who have a disability access to law school. Yeah. And one thing that we were talking about though was just the initial impression. So for example, the law school building actually isn't terrible. There's not that many elevators, but for the most part, it's just open. But we were talking about how many people, for example, like the law school has had years, they've had a gender disparity, and something about the culture is causing a lower percentage of women to accept this expect. So we were kind of talking about how specifically with the gender issue, they were trying to reform their marketing and their outreach to try to present some of the features of the law school that they think would help make it more attractive to women, or at least help keep the balance from people working in like a hostile environment, etc. And in theory, I wasn't really sure why I could way of doing that, but in theory, there's a similar way of doing that with disability, just such that like you're able to get sets foot on campus perspective, or looks at the marketing materials, or even someone who self-identifies as disabled in their application, that maybe they could get subset of materials that might tell them about the reasons why they would.
So diversity initiatives in admissions, is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, and that's, thank you. That was just really.
Great to see you. Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Apparently
So,
don't want to-
Okay, I kind of have an idea about how we might proceed. So I'm looking at this, and we have like a number of goals. Things to do with admissions, so the student body itself, making sure there are students with disabilities here, making sure faculty are doing a better job working with people with disabilities, having like a cultural space for students with disabilities, and that can be, I think right now it doesn't feel like there's a lot of students who identify as having a disability at Duke, or at least there's a lot more than we realize, but we don't have a space for that, and it's stigmatized in a lot of cases. Like there's a lot of people who wouldn't share that information about themselves or consider it part of their identity, and that's, there's a variety of reasons for that, but a community center might help to erase that stigma, and it might also create a space that is just a kind of helpful environment for students, whether it's with a disability, with a mental health challenge, if that's depression, or just I'm at Duke and it's overwhelming how competitive this is, it's overwhelming how busy I am, it's overwhelming how I feel like everyone else is doing so much better, than I am in integrating their life with this place. All that stuff, it could just promote a more helpful environment.
Some of the units of diversity does a really good job.
Yeah.
Reaching out to students
Yeah.
and creating spaces for them.
Cool.
So they're definitely
Good ally. And the Center for Multicultural Affairs also.
Space as it is,
Yeah.
and most of it is unusual.
Interesting. See, this, over the summer, there was a student with People State talking with the administration about this one, called Cultural Community Center. And all they wanted to know was, well, where are you going to put it? Because space is a resource that's hard to come by, that people fight over. Yeah, so that's one potential proposal, is sharing space, or having a subspace within the Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity, or within Center for Multicultural Affairs, one of those or both, or whatever. So that's really useful. But so some of these have to do with coursework, so ASL, but also maybe that disability certificate that I was talking about, languages building, and then physical accessibility of campus itself. So maybe we could break this down into a number of achievable categories, and then have an effort to publish about it, to get the whole campus talking about it. So I'm thinking a series of articles in the Chronicle that we could work on together. And I'm planning on having my students do something like this anyway. So maybe we can form little activism teams, and you guys could decide which ones you want to be on. And then my students could work with you, and you'd have 4 freshmen who are doing their writing assignments, and they have to do this public scholarship assignment that I'm giving them, and to have them working on these things, right? So that you could break it into I don't know. For me, a good number would be 6. We could break it into 6 goals that we had, and then try and publish 6 articles on it. And that would start a conversation and maybe give us context for pursuing these conversations further. Actually talking to administration. Yeah.
Are you talking about a series in the Chronicle?
Yeah, I mean, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be really cool. They did
A series. Accessibility at Duke. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So does that sound like a cool thing to do? Maybe people can sign up for which area they'd like to work on, which issue you want to focus your energies on. And it would really just be about meeting, having a conversation, and then I'm thinking of this like a writing teacher. So it's okay, do the research part, find out examples of other universities that have gone through this process or who have created the cultural centers for disability, ones that have instituted faculty trainings, finding other precedents out there and then writing about that as well. And then just having the whole argument for why is this important? Why is why is it important that we create a more inclusive community for students with disabilities, for students, even not even with disabilities, but like experiencing mental health challenges, which I think is at some point in your 4 years here, something that everyone goes through. So that makes it feel more relevant and immediate to the entire student body. Because I think there is a misperception that people with disabilities are like this tiny minority that you can easily ignore. That's a huge misperception. The CDC published, and I keep saying this lately, published something recently saying it's 25% of the US population that has a disability as defined by the Americans with Disabilities Act. That's a quarter of the United States. That's not a tiny minority that's easily ignored. Right? So anyway, all that context can go into articles and publishing. So, but unless you guys have other ideas too, if you want to tape up the languages building and barricade the entrance, I'm all for it.
And it's definitely much less elaborate than the disability because we even talk a lot about the representation of disability in media, in Hollywood. So if we can find a few good examples that we feel actually accurately represent the reality, or even documentaries, which might be better. I mean, there are a lot of venues on this, like those students on for presentations and now they're showing documentaries that they're really either like kind of infiltrate one of those existing bodies, saying, would you like to screen this? Here's an idea. Or we can also just try to see if we can understand this space.
That's great. What time is it? Oh, it's after 8 now, so we should wrap up.
Yeah, this is a great first meeting. Y'all have a bunch of jam-packed ideas. I like it. Feel energized. But yeah, so thank you so much for coming. And I just wanted to end on the note that currently I don't think are people with disabilities. I myself don't have a disability. And the last thing we want this club to be is a bunch of like able-bodied people sensationalizing the concept of disability. Like that's not what we stand for. We're just trying to be an ally and be activists for like with for people and like understand and share like how they want to be represented, how they want to be treated, how they want to access things on campus. So yeah. If you guys have any questions, you can email any of us. You can email me, talk to Marion. And our next meeting will most likely be next weekend. I'm not going to be here this weekend, which is why we held it on a weekday. But
could we send a when to meet to the full membership?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And just figure out a time that works the best.
We'll do that. Thank you so much, everyone.
So do people want to sign up for activism teams before they go?